我叫亨利，我这周六8点半，我会在 KTN 新闻 Globe Traktion。
People pursue paths which they have seen others successfully follow, especially when it comes to taking up courses at the university level. However, this was not the case with Dr. Henry Rotich doing Mandarin in China. And tonight we bring it all to you as we sit down for an exclusive interview with a remarkable couple whose journey transcends borders and cultures. Dr. Henry Rotich, a distinguished chemist and coordinator at KEBS, will be sharing with us insights into his incredible academic and professional journey from the scenic hills of Nandi County to earning a doctorate degree in chemistry in China. Joining him is his wife, offering a unique perspective on their multicultural family and how they navigate the blend of Kenyan and Chinese traditions. Hello and welcome to Globe Traktion. My name is Persil Telewa and I'm sure you'll be fascinated by Mr. and Mrs. Henry Rotich's story.
Welcome.
Dr. Rotich.
Welcome, yes. Thank you.
Ni hao.
Ni hao, ni hao. That's what foreign.
I'll get a hug from you.
Okay,
Nice meeting you.
Yes.
How is the going?
No, we are fine.
And close to Happy New Year. How do I say Happy New Year in Chinese?
新年快乐，
新年快乐。
新年快乐，新年
She
快
teaches
乐。
Chinese and I think she can teach you more Chinese.
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I supposed to pay for that?
No, don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Maybe you
Thanks.
can also teach us something Swahili.
In Kiswahili, I'll
Yeah.
teach you lots of Swahili.
Swahili,
I'm
yeah.
very good in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Let's-
欢迎，
Yeah,
Thank you.
请坐，
How do I say thank you? In
谢谢，
谢谢，
谢谢.
Yeah.
谢谢.
请坐。
请坐。
Daktari,
Yes.
nice to meet you finally. I know
Yes.
you're quite a busy guy, but thanks for creating the time.
Welcome
How
to
is the going?
our home.
Asante.
We are fine, yes.
I was curious because I know you're among the very few Kenyans who can speak fluent Mandarin.
Yes.
And you know how that sounds.
Yeah.
First of all, before we get there,
Yeah.
I would love to know the fact that you did your bachelor's degree at the University of Nairobi. What made you think about going to further in Mandarin, particularly?
I think at that time we didn't know much about China. Then there was this government scholarship which was advertised in the
Yes.
newspapers.
Yes.
That time I was a member of a newspaper club
I
at
see.
my workplace. So I used to buy newspapers, and when I bought this newspaper, I saw the advert, and I got interested. So I showed my boss, and my boss encouraged me to apply. So I applied. I took my application to the Ministry of Education, and I forgot about it. Later on, they called me for an interview because they were interviewing those who are likely to get a scholarship.
Yes.
So after the interview, later on they called me, they told me I have succeeded and they wanted me to go and fill some forms. So I just found myself doing it, and eventually I got the scholarship. Yes.
So tell me how you set foot in China and which university did you study at?
Well, I got a chance to travel. It was a full scholarship.
Yeah.
So even the ticket
Ticket
was
is
paid
catered for,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So when I went to the embassy, I met this Chinese lady. Of course, I think that was the first time I was interacting with the Chinese. And she looked like a small girl, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they never age. I keep
Yeah,
telling
yeah,
them.
yeah.
I don't know what they do to themselves, but they
Yes.
never age.
Yeah. So she told me about China, and then that I would travel and somebody will receive us from there. We had asked people from the Ministry of Education to arrange.
Yeah.
So when we arrived in Beijing, I remember we came out and it was hot. The kind of weather which was different from here in Kenya.
Yeah. Was it their summer or something?
Yeah,
like
it was
that?
actually, I think I would call it autumn.
Yes.
Because we were going towards winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were received and then we were handed over to Beijing Language University, which was receiving the foreign students. And then we were taken there. We stayed for a few days. Then they arranged for us to travel to our respective universities. So I went to Northeast Normal University, which was in the northeastern part of China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just before we started our formal conversation, you were telling me you were just two black people in that university.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes. Tell me, how was the experience so far and settling into this totally different community?
It was quite a challenge because I remember even before I arrived at my university, while I was still in Beijing, I I wanted to have a meal. So I was shown where the restaurant was. I went there, I followed other students. There were Koreans, Japanese, even some Americans.
Yeah.
So we were queuing for food. So I just picked the food, then I went and sat. But I couldn't find a spoon or a fork. So I kept on looking around to see how people
How
were
people
eating.
are eating.
But I saw they were using some sticks. So I looked at what I had. It was one. So I went back for another one. Then I was trying to eat and I could hardly get anything into my mouth because I'm trying to get food with 2 sticks.
Yeah.
So, and then I later on realized these were chopsticks. We were
Chopsticks.
supposed to split into 2 and then you
Yeah.
can hold it in the way. So a lady saw me and she brought me a spoon. I started eating using the spoon. And then later on I went and got some money, a stipend, and I wanted to buy something. I think I wanted to write a letter home. But I didn't know. The lady just wrote 5, so I didn't know 5 what. So I removed all the money and gave it to her. She picked, I think, a 10, and then she gave me some change.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't understand how the Chinese money goes.
Yes.
I couldn't understand what she was saying. I couldn't read. I couldn't even when I turned on the TV. I couldn't understand
You can't
anything.
understand
I was
anything.
completely illiterate for the first time in my life. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
long did that go on before you now got, you know?
Yeah, when because I stayed in Beijing for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then I got a train ticket. I was taken to the train station, right into the train, and I was told, just stay here. When the train stops, you will have arrived in the morning. Someone will pick you up. So when I arrived, there was somebody from the foreign student office who could speak English.
Yes.
So he picked me up and took me to the university. So I stayed at the university the whole day. I was hungry. I really wanted to eat something also. It was lunch hour. I didn't know. I went to one restaurant, and when I said I was given a menu in Chinese,
Yes.
I looked at the menu.
can barely read.
There were no pictorials, so I didn't know what it was. I'm trying to talk to the waiter, and he doesn't understand what I'm saying. So he just went away and started looking at me like this. I just went back to my room. I stayed in my room,
Yeah.
and I kept on looking to see if there's somebody who looks like a foreigner I can talk to.
Yeah. Who
And
can
then I
understand English.
saw an American coming in, and I dashed downstairs. I met him. I talked to him. He told me, "Oh, me, I also don't speak Chinese, but I know there's some foreigners who are staying in one of the rooms here." So he took me and he knocked the room. There was nobody. So he told me, "This room, we have some students from Arab countries,
Oh, Arab
and
countries.
they speak Chinese."
Yeah.
So I kept on watching that room, until I saw some
You can find a savior.
2 Arabs coming.
Yeah.
So I just stood there. I told them I've come. I explained to them, and then he understood me. He took me to a restaurant, which was a small restaurant outside the university. Ordered food for me,
Yeah.
and then he actually took me the next day to the neighboring university where the foreign students used to have lunch, and he literally translated the menu for me. So I knew number 1 is what. So when I'm going, I go with my paper. I just sit down there and say, "What do you want?" I say, number 1.
3.
I read mine, this one. That's how I did it for almost 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't understand anything. I remember one morning, one afternoon, we wanted to visit the neighboring university.
Yeah.
So we knew it was when you get out of the gate, you turn, and a few meters you'll find. But we took the wrong turn, so we got lost. We were trying to talk to some Chinese. They were
What
running away
direction?
from us
Yeah.
because these were black people, so they didn't understand the language, so they were running away. So eventually we got some students who could speak a bit of English, so we said we're going to Chilin University. So they understood Chilin University. They took us by bus to the university. And we met one lecturer who now took us to the foreign students' office. When we came back,
yeah.
we never went out of the campus for a whole month because we were really scared. Yeah.
Lest you get lost again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I'm wondering what really got you to think about studying something that was not quite popular then? Because which year was that?
That was in 1998.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what got you into Mandarin, Daktari?
I don't even know because I used to like China for when I was a young boy. Then my grandma used to have a kettle, and this kettle was made in Shanghai. So by then I used to think Shanghai is a country, and so I got interested in seeing those characters which were like sticks.
Yes.
So I was like, what is in China? And then also I also used to know that China, Africa helped China to become a member of the G7, the permanent member of the UN.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew, and I used to know that China is a friend of Africa, because
Somehow.
I used to listen on
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
sometimes, and so I was like, well, let me go and see what is there. I used to know the population of more than 1 billion, so I was like, these people are so many.
There are so many.
Yeah. So it was curiosity, but I didn't know what I was going to meet. I remember when we were flying between Nairobi and France,
Yeah.
some Kenyans who were going to the US asked me, what are you going to do in China? Even one took my address, gave me their address in the US and told me, when you get to China, write to me and tell me what is in
How
China.
it is, yeah.
Yeah. So I was going on a journey I didn't know.
But you're exploring.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me perhaps how you've been raised, where you've grown up, and that complete village rural environment. Yeah.
Well, I was born in Nandi. I think now we're going in the north part, the Nandi North sub-county.
Yeah.
And so yes, a village environment. I went to school in a village environment. When I did my KCPE, I went to Karabatula, which was also
Karabatula Boys High
very,
School.
very far. It used to be a mixed school then. So we used to travel 2 days to get the place. And it was also in a very remote place. So I think that environment hardened me to really be willing to explore.
About your siblings, perhaps?
Yes.
Your parents?
Yeah, my parents, they were just normal farmers at home. And my siblings were also going to normal village schools.
Were you the one, the first child?
Yes. I have, I'm actually number 4. So the others, they are there. My sister is a teacher. She's now a headmistress of a primary school. And then my other 2 brothers, they are in business.
Yeah.
But at home, yeah.
And I know I'm going to have a chat with your wife later, but I remember when, your son was being initiated, the traditional ceremony.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was a very major event.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me how the 2 of you and her, have been able to integrate, the Kalenjin culture and the Chinese culture into, bringing up your kids together.
Yeah. I think one of the things that is very key about Chinese is that they respect people's culture. So my wife, when she's here, we discuss about my son. I told her she has to be initiated, following the Kalenjin culture.
Yeah.
And she had no problem with that. So I think her background was quite instrumental in us agreeing that my son has to follow the Kalenjin rites.
How has it been for you to let your kids know that, this is how we do it, in this culture, and, to get the other perspective from this different culture? Because even while we were chatting a few minutes ago, we're like, in this community, the men are supposed to be on the rights of their women.
Yes.
And then she was like,
in China, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite, yeah. So how do you sort of just, balance all of this?
I think one of the things is we explain to them. I do explain to them, this is how it's done. And as I mentioned, sorry for the children, they listen.
Yes.
And when they go to school, the CBC is doing a lot of things. They're learning things about culture. Sometimes when they come home, they're asking me, can you sing for us a Kalenjin song? We want a traditional song. So the school is also helping them to really know that there's cultural backgrounds to everything.
Did you have any challenges perhaps with your peers and your family to be like, you know what, I thought about it and I think I'm going to settle down with this Chinese lady? How was it for you?
Yeah, my family are quite accommodative.
Yeah.
I remember when I was about to graduate, I invited my auntie and also my brother. And they were all at home. When I met her parents, they were all at home. So we didn't have issues where some were really, because I remember when I met her father, we had lunch. And after lunch, he just went away. He went back. So he didn't say anything. But later on, I got to know that he had no issue. So I met a whole lot of relatives, and they were all very much welcoming. In fact, when I go there, I'm more at home with them. And I think even her mom likes me so much.
Her mom likes you more than she likes her.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't have an issue of cultural kind of reservations. Yeah, we just adopted. When I was in China, I also accepted their culture. And when she came here, she accepted our culture also.
Let me
Yeah.
delve a little bit into your professional life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand you work, with the Kenya Bureau
Oh,
of
standards, yes,
yeah.
yes.
And looking at your background,
Yeah.
there is so much value that you bring in terms of when we are having, foreign investors coming over to the country and we want to seal deals, business deals, interact and stuff like that. How has, your Chinese background and understanding, shaped the way you're conducting your professional life at KEBS at the moment?
Yeah. I stayed in China, and I saw a lot of transformation within the 8 years that I was there.
Yeah.
China changing from, I would call it that time, it was a developing economy. And actually, as you are speaking now, if you look at China, you can segment into
There's a lot of difference.
first world,
Yeah.
middle, and the other one.
Yeah.
So these are the things I saw. I interacted also with some of my colleagues who actually went up to set up industries. They are in manufacturing, they are in IT and all that. So these are some of the things when I was there, I remember when President Kibaki came to China. And one of the things we were telling him is that we hope that he can borrow some of these good ideas and bring it to Kenya. So one of the key things that I always want to do is to help investors to be able to invest here in Kenya, and also even interest those who are in China to come and invest here. So that's one of the things I do. Sometimes they come, they need services, and they have language barrier. So I do translation, I give them interpretation, and I'm also the chairman of the Kenya-China Alumni Association.
Great.
So which brings together all Kenyans who studied in China, and now we've incorporated those who are learning Chinese here in Kenya.
Yes.
Because before, you could only learn Chinese when you go to China.
Yeah.
But now we have Confucius Institutes. We also have some of the alumni who are actually running schools here in Kenya.
Yeah.
So we are bringing everybody here. And we work with various Chamber of Commerce here in China. In Kenya, we have the various, the Chinese have established a number of them. So we work very closely with them to really promote a good culture and economic relation between Kenya and China.
Talking about good culture and economic relations, there's lots of innovation, and I'm sure there are things that you'd love that we borrow as a country,
Yes.
From a professional perspective and also by interacting with where we are at technologically in this country. Which is it that would be a game changer for us, once we do sort of benchmarking and just like have things implemented? What is it that you admire so much?
I think one of the things is when you look at the population of China, it's a big number. And when we were in China, we used to have a joke that when you close your eyes and walk down the street, when you open your eyes, you could be in a restaurant or in a food store. Fruits were cheap, food was very cheap.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what have they done to make sure that they have plenty of food and actually affordable. So I think if we can really work with them, especially in transformation of food. Last year I was able to visit the university where the professor who actually did the hybrid rice.
Yes.
He passed away recently, not long ago.
Yes, yeah.
And that I went and saw the university where he was. And these are Chinese who actually used science to develop hybrid rice, which doesn't require a lot of water, but the production is very high.
Yeah.
So I think if we can work together, the scientists in the agriculture sector can work with our scientists here in Kenya, we can be able to sort out the issues of food. Yesterday, I had a dinner with one Chinese who was talking about the kind of feed.
Yes.
There are some technologies that can improve feed, to improve the quality of eggs and also the quality of milk that we can produce. So I see a lot of opportunities because when you look at, I was looking at the products they have, they're even much cheaper than what we have in the market now.
Yeah.
And these Chinese wants to come and invest here.
I was about to talk to you about, how cheap and affordable their labor is, and for them to be able to be all over the world doing major projects, without compromising on quality.
Yeah.
Could you have learned something perhaps, or could you be having anything to share with me on that?
Yes. I think one of the things that
Yeah.
I would say is that in China, there are a lot of opportunities for education at various levels. You can also get somebody maybe at a certificate level. There are many institutions which can offer that kind of training, diploma, and then degree, and all this. So you find that you will get someone looking for you maybe to give an opportunity. I remember when we were there, we visited one of our relatives who wanted to, who bought a house. And you know, when you buy a house, it's just a structure. So you do the issues of furnishing,
Yes.
painting, and all that.
Yeah.
So you just get some people on the street. They do masonry or they do painting. They'll come and do it. You go and buy a kitchenware.
Kitchen fittings.
And the person comes and fits everything there.
Yeah.
Plumbing, that person comes and does everything. Lighting, he comes and does that. The ceiling, he come and do it. So I think in terms of trainings, to have all these people being able to do it, and I'm happy that maybe here in Kenya we can have collaboration, especially with our technical institutes,
Yes.
so that we train our students to have the skills and they can be able to work anywhere. They can take projects and do it.
Now that you spoke about collaborations,
Yeah.
I understand that you already have collaborations,
Yes.
even from where you sit at with different institutions.
Yes.
Perhaps just give me an overview of, what you're collaborating in, because I understand you're a chemist by profession.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We have various collaborations. One of them is especially at the research level. I think where I work, we collaborate with other national metrology institutes. We collaborate with China, the National Metrology Institute of China. We collaborate with PTV of Germany. And this is where we get the scientists now working together to develop some solutions for measurement and improve metrology across the region. Currently, I'm the president of Pan-African Quality Infrastructure Institute, so which brings together various. We actually have 5 pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm responsible for metrology. So we bring all these institutes. They work together, come up with measurement solutions. We can help to spur industry. Yeah.
While we speak about collaboration still, let's also talk about what opportunities are there for Kenyan students that want to study in China. Sorry, but today you are the ambassador to China in some way.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'd love to know, how is it that these two countries, can leverage on each other's, presence and, skills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that is good to know about China is that it's one of the biggest markets in terms of the population. This year, and actually last year,
Yeah.
we've seen Kenya being able to export avocado and also the fish products to China.
Yes.
That's a big opportunity. And it's actually helping to create demand for avocado. And many Kenyans now are growing avocado for export.
Yes.
The other thing that we are seeing a lot of interest in China is various, for example, tea. You can make the Chinese tea and export to China. That's a big market for us as Kenya.
Wow, yeah.
As I mentioned, there's a big population which is economically empowered. I was in China the other day and I could see there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because China is not the China we knew long time.
China has moved.
Yeah, it's moved, yeah.
Yeah.
Economically, even the citizens, they have disposable income to spend. So we can be able to also export more products there. We've also started seeing some Chinese coming to invest in manufacturing here in Kenya for export to China and also other countries.
So there.
Yeah, so there's an opportunity. And one of the things that I really strongly believe is that Kenyans can partner with Chinese companies to set up industries here to produce for export and also for local consumption. Yeah. In terms of education, I'm sure you are aware last year China gave 53 scholarships, full scholarships to Kenyans to go and study in China. And these are from undergraduate, masters, PhD, those levels, which is a big number.
Yeah.
Uh,
So are they fully paid scholarships?
They are fully paid, yeah. But also when you look at the cost of education in China, it's slightly cheaper than here.
Oh, I
So
see.
there's also opportunity for parents to sponsor their children to go and study in China. There are a number of opportunities which Kenyans can be able to exploit. Learning Chinese here, you can get a government scholarship to go and study in China, and then you come back with the language and also the skills that you've acquired when you are there.
Ni hao. I hope you enjoyed today's story, and make sure you join us again next Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Kenyan time only on KTN News. And remember, if you have a story you'd like to share with us, don't hesitate. Write to us through Globe Traktion at standardmedia.co.ke or DM us on our social media platforms at Globe Traktion. You can also tap that follow button to me on my social media platforms at Persil Telewa on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube for more or behind the scenes and many other amazing stories. But until then, I hope to catch up with you again, same time, same place. Bye-bye for now.